again for another episode of me and Greenie. As of last week, we stopped at the basics of climate change and how it occurs, and today we will delve a bit deeper for everybody to understand where we are presently and how problematic the issue is. Wow, new dress. Well, from the video we watched last week, the video explained how climate change occurs, how it is accelerated by man-made activities, our industries, the 1001 factories that we have that is producing our food, our clothes, our cars, different appliances. So all these toxic gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, they all permeate and go into the atmosphere, add up to the greenhouse gas blanket we have. This makes our planet warm, and when it makes it warm, you have different other catastrophes. First of all, we all know this. We see the glaciers melting in the North Pole as well as the South Pole. So these ice caps melt, and the excess water that runs from it increases the levels of our seas, of our oceans, and because of that, you have more floods. You have water just going into cities, nearby coastal shores. And because of the rise in sea levels, you have an increase of climate refugees. People that live close to the shores have their houses destroyed, their infrastructures ruined, and they become climate refugees because they have nowhere else to go. Now, the waters that do come up from the ice caps are usually warmer than usual. Now, these warmer waters enter into our ocean. This is problematic for the phytoplanktons, for the fishes and different biodiversity species present in the ocean, because they require a particular temperature to carry out biological processes such as mating, hatching of their egg. If the temperature of the waters increase, you have different biological processes shutting down, which leads to the death of these animals and plants. Many plants do have different sunlight, rainfall requirements. So just imagine if there is a change in weather patterns, what happens to these plants? Some would adapt, many would just die off. Same thing we have with animals. You have animals that migrate from one region to another based on the temperature of the area, the availability of food, the ability for them to raise their fledglings or even mate. Now, if you have unprecedented weather patterns, you'd have these animals not being able to perform their biological functions. They won't be able to travel because they are going to a place that rains a lot, but if they go to a place that is dry and is hot, they will die off. Their fledglings will die off because there won't be availability of the food that was once common when it used to rain there. Are you seeing the ricochet effects of climate change? Now, on to humans. The weather becomes so unpredictable that farmers that were once dependent on the weather patterns, usually during the rainy season, but if there is no proper rainy season or the rains that come in are not quite enough, all the favorite vegetables that you go and get from ShopRite or your favorite local stores, they will all be gone. And that is how a small famine begins. You see situations of droughts, bouts of droughts in Ethiopia in the north, and people are suffering. It has to do with climate change. I won't lie, I am scared, but I'm trying to be very, very optimistic that I am touching someone. That's why it's so important that everybody is fighting for protecting our trees, for planting them, even the ones we've lost. To be honest, the most important thing is to protect the trees we already have because they have stored millions of tons of carbon. So by the time you cut it off, all those would come out. And by the time a small seedling would reach up to the capability of its parents, that would take a very, very long time. So plant trees wherever you can, plant them properly, nurture them. That is the most important. If you don't have indoor plants. It's so important. They help filter your air, so the quality of air you breathe in is better. They also help to store carbon dioxide. have a farm. Just, we have to start imperfectly. That's the truth. Because we can no longer sit down and be waiting for the government, because the government themselves are not fully aware. The first step is to be aware of the situation, to be afraid. And that is what I'm doing. I'm talking to you all that are watching me, that we can't leave this for the neighbor, the other person to do it. You have to do your own part. This is me signing out. I hope you learned something new. I hope this would make you delve a bit deeper. As I said, this video is just shedding light on these issues, but you'd have to read further, you'd have to see, you'd have to check on more data, even check on more documentaries to understand what I'm talking about. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Please join the Green Tribe. I make videos every week for you all. This is me signing out, and as I always say, let's start imperfectly.